Hello, people. My name is Detroit Miracle, and I am here to talk about martial arts. In fact, I am here to talk about kung fu and karate films and its impression upon society. When I was a little boy, there was a lot of talk about Bruce Lee, the legendary, iconic martial art master. Bruce Lee was just as big as Elvis, Tupac, and Michael Jackson, and that great artist went before his time. So I know my uncles were heavily into it. Yeah, they took us to see kung fu movies, and they even took us to see some Bruce Lee films earlier on. Now my uncle Dennis, he was heavily into martial arts. Yeah, I think he studied it directly, and he had seen at least 1,000 films. Yeah, it was amazing. When he would rent, back when they first got the player where you could watch the tapes, the VHA tapes or VHS, he bought a recorder, and then he would rent a lot of kung fu movies or karate movies, and he would let us come around and watch it. And we thought it was awesome, cool. Like, yeah, uncle, it was amazing. And we know that you have to be incredibly skilled and trained in that art form in order to achieve a degree of perfection. So me and my brother and brothers knew that we couldn't just go out on the street and try to perform that same stuff we saw on camera. So yeah, our uncle Dennis Felder got us into watching martial art films. Even before we started watching martial art films, Bruce Lee was a big subject and topic back then. We know Bruce Lee died in 1973. I was born in 1972, so while growing up through the 70s and the early 80s, Bruce Lee was still big, and he is today, but martial art films were booming in the 70s after Bruce Lee died. They were becoming international and popular everywhere. And then there was what you call a Bruce exploitation. And yeah, my Uncle Dennis would rent some of the Bruce Lee exploitation films starring people like Bruce Lee and Bruce Lee. And we thought they were cool too, even though they weren't the real Bruce Lee. But finally, when we saw Bruce Lee films, the Genuine article, we thought that he was totally awesome, cool, and you could tell the difference between the real Bruce Lee and the fake Bruce Lees. Some of us will refer to Bruce Lee lookalikes as fake Bruce Lees. I know they were very skilled at kung fu, but it seemed like they weren't on the level of Bruce Lee, and you could tell the difference. Yeah. And then subsequently, like at my earliest ages of development, my uncle was into martial arts heavily, and he would continue to rent and buy kung fu and karate movies all the way up into our adulthoods. And yeah, if we were over his house, we would ask him, "Hey, uncle, you got any new kung fu movies or karate movies?" Then he would pull out something. Yeah, he would have a whole shelf full of them. Like we would watch, and after Bruce Lee had long since passed away, my uncle got into famous artists like Bruce Lee. I mean, not Bruce Lee. He got into other famous martial artists such as Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, Michael J. White, Wesley Snipes, Chuck Norris, Scott Adkins. The list goes on and on and on. So he had a personal library of martial art films, and he even gave me a lot of them when he changed the format. Like I think he bought a Blu-ray player, so he gave me most of his DVDs or VHS tapes or something like that, because you know they always improve on technology as you go along and as you progress in society, you know, things get more advanced. So my uncle's the king of renting and buying martial art films, beyond a doubt. And my brothers and me got into it, well, watching it at least, because our uncle was a positive motivation that way. Hey, I didn't mind spending hours watching those movies, which were martial arts. They were out cold and awesome. And then with the Kung Fu movies, they showed the various Kung Fu styles and the various methods and progresses to obtain perfections at it. I really thought that was cool. I always wondered, could you really use that on the streets? I wonder, yeah, that looks cool on film. That looks cool like that. But would it really work? And I figured it probably would if you were a skilled practitioner and expert at it. Yeah, but if you don't know it, you can't just mimic what you see on TV or film and try to use it, because it wouldn't work out for you that way. Yeah. And of course, I have to throw this in with my uncle being a major Bruce Lee fan, because Bruce Lee blew up the martial art film genre. Martial art films wouldn't have been as big as they become or as big as they are now had it not been for Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee is, of course, the father of all martial art films pertaining to Kung Fu and karate styles, beyond any doubt. I even asked my uncle once, hey, do you really think Bruce Lee was the best that there was or the best that there is? And do you really think Bruce Lee is the best at using nunchucks? My uncle said there's no one on the level of using nunchucks and as skilled as Bruce Lee was at it. There is no one out there. I know he didn't answer as far as him thinking Bruce Lee was the best ever in terms of that, but he did say, look, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. You might have an off day, you might have a bad day, or you might fight somebody that has like an awkward style who might get the better of you. He just simply stated that and left it at that. I know I added more emphasis on it, but that's pretty much what he said. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. You know, yeah. Well, I think that whole art form is cool. And a lot of those martial artists are like, they're like, what do you call that? Michelangelos and Leonardo da Vinci's of their martial art forms. They're on par like that. It's like they are classically trained at it. So you know they can whoop a lot of butt on the street, especially if they face people who don't know as much as they know or know anything as far as martial arts fighting. Yeah. You know me, I'm a big guy. I always crack jokes about it. I say, yeah, let one of those martial artists come try me. I'm going to just bear hug them and see can they get loose like, ooh. Yeah. Something works better than nothing, right? Well, folks, I would like to dedicate this video to my uncle, Dennis Felder, and I'd appreciate it if you all would give me those likes, comments, and please subscribe to my channel. Peace out, folks.